and you talked about me being across the country and seeing different things that have happened. And, I've had these conversations when it comes to the economy, what it's like now versus what it's like with Obama. And, something to remember during the Obama years was that the average annual growth in real GDP under the Obama administration was 1.52%. Wow. 1.52%.
Oh, my God. We would eviscerate our President Trump if he came in with those kinds of numbers.
No, and you think about it, that was the lowest since the Great Depression in the 1930s. And even in the last year, in 2016, GDP fell to 1.6%. And remember, this is when they said, well, this is the new normal. We might be going into another recession, et cetera. And they tried to say that when things turned around after the election of 2016, that Trump inherited this great Obama economy, which is not the case. Trump reversed the abysmal record that Obama had. He cut taxes. He cut tons of onerous regulations, and the economy jumped to 3% growth in 2018. Take it from another standpoint, economically speaking, real wages for workers were flat during the Obama years, and now they're growing at about 3.5% annual rate. So what does that actually mean? That means that your real weekly earnings actually grew significantly. So under Obama, it was about $345 to about $349. So that means $4 over the life of the administration. That's about 50 cents in your paycheck. That's where your real dollars actually came out. So the fact that this has significantly changed in 2.5 years with what President Trump has been able to do. No, this was not inherited from the Obama economy. The Obama economy was an abysmal record, and that's why, I've said in the past, there's between 2006 and 2016, we had the lost decade. That was when the Democrats took control of the House of Representatives and the Senate. Got the presidency in 2008, and then basically up until President Trump and the Republicans took back things completely in 2016, did we actually see a change where we had the tax cuts, where we renegotiated trade deals. And, for instance, you and I were talking about between the break with this China situation. So for those of you that are paying attention, the president is having these exchanges with China in regards to trying to renegotiate trade deals. What President Trump did first was he renegotiated with bilateral trades, with the exception of renegotiating NAFTA to make it the USMCA. That needs to just be approved by Congress. Again, this is something the Democrats are dragging their feet on. They do not want to give the president a victory or a win. So what did he do? He cut taxes, he cut regulations. That made the economy strong enough that he could negotiate from a position of power to renegotiate trade deals, such as NAFTA and other bilateral.
Trans-Pacific. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so he pulled out of the Trans-Pacific, which was good. There was, I don't know how many, 15 countries in that maybe, and that diminishes the leverage point of the United States from an economic standpoint as well as a national security standpoint. So what he did instead was, all right, let's do bilateral trade agreements with some of these countries. So he renegotiated with China. Or tried to have opening conversations. He actually was effective when it came to Japan, South Korea, and a few other countries. So now he's in a position that he's even stronger to take on China. And now China is dragging their feet. They're making commitments and they're blowing those commitment deadlines. The president is willing to work with them. The Chinese are now thinking, crossing their fingers, hoping like crazy that President Trump is not reelected in 2020. So they're going to continue to drag their feet. But I guarantee you, the day after President Trump secures his reelection, they're going to be calling because they know that something is going to be detrimental. Now, look, President Trump has also done something that previous presidential candidates on both sides of the aisle said that they would do, and they have never done. Label China a currency manipulator officially from a legal standpoint. And President Trump and the White House has done that now, because what did China do in retaliation for some of these tariffs that the president continues to put on with China?
Lowered the value.
They lowered the value of their currency, meaning that it's not going to take a hit. However, China's economy is slowing in terms of growth, and that's as a result of the pressure that the president is putting on.
Months ago, it was 30% that their economy had dropped.
Yes.
And now it's gone down much further, and their unemployment rate is horrific.
It is, and the fact that China is actually making complaints to the World Trade Organization.
Oh, that says it all.
Which is rich. I can't explain it any other way than laughing at the irony of the fact that China would do such a thing, because now we know that it's working. So unfortunately, in the meantime, from now until election 2020, the president is going to have these conversations, these talks with China, but unless something significantly breaks through in terms of a deal, it looks kind of onerous right now. And the biggest thing is we can take it. And the left and those on CNN and MSNBC, they try to say, the stock market, doing a stock market watch, watching the Dow. Remember what the Dow is. It's 30 companies. Right. It's 30 companies. It is not indicative of the entire economy or the market. It's 30 companies that cover the Dow. You have the S&P, you have other, organizations where all the companies are in there. Granted, remember where the stock market, the Dow, as they like to say it was 18,000 and change in 2016. Where is it now? Go to MarketWatch, Google, Yahoo, etc.
26 plus?
Yeah, you're looking in 25 plus. And 30,000, I'm sure, is within reach.
You bet.
Assuming President Trump gets reelected, which I believe he will. And these are the things that continue to show the indicators, right? You have your unemployment rate, which is the lowest we've seen in generations. We have labor participation rate, which is the highest we've seen in generations.
Labor even likes Donald Trump.
Exactly, because there's opportunity, and that is a positive thing. And we need to continue to push on going through all avenues that we can. And that includes what we talked about with trade, what we talked about with the economy, and finding other ways to cut onerous regulations. This is what happened. This is how we're able to have a strong, and that means the consumer confidence goes up. We have more disposable income. And to think that, and this loops back to the fact that, are we going to go back? We want to go back to the way things were.
Oh, my God. No, it would be so much worse.